Well, good morning, officially. Good morning, everyone. So as Reverend Eileen mentioned, we had a retreat the past 2 days, Friday and Saturday. When we talked about it, I said, let's get not just the board, but I want to get the volunteers and the leaders that are here in the church. And we met, and I just hit the thing, so there we go. This is your leadership team. And I don't know if you can see this, but up here on all these flip charts right here are all of the things that this church has accomplished in the last year. Yes, no, huge. As a minister of 20 years, I looked at that list and I'm like, how are you people still standing? That's a lot of things to launch, a lot of programs to launch, a lot of people to take care of. It's fascinating, it's marvelous, and it's been under some great leadership of Reverend Eileen and several of you people. So let's give it a round of applause. And Bill and the Board of Trustees, they're just amazing. So you've got a great group of people here that have been dedicated to growing this church, right? Revitalizing this church, if you will. So we had a lot of fun. Well, I'm not sure if it's fun. They got to see me lecture for a while. But yeah, look at that group of leaders there. Those are your leaders. These are the people who actually run different parts of the church. And so we're very proud of them. And they've done some great work. And I just can't say enough that you guys are doing fantastic. So we'll do that again maybe in the spring. All right? All right, my talk today. None of these things move me. The power of the spoken word. So when I sat down to do this talk, I thought, okay, I'm the first Sunday of the month. Am I right? Oh. Okay, thank you. By the way, I have to move my Beyonce fan over here. Because if I don't have, and that's what I want. I need a Beyonce fan to blow this hair up a little. You know I run a little warm. Getting back to what I was saying. As I sat there thinking about the power of the spoken word, I realized that a lot of power resides within me on the things I don't say out loud, the things I say to myself. So, bless you. So my idea is today, because Eileen and the rest of the team are going to be talking about the power of the spoken word, I want to talk about the power of the unspoken word and how we do so much damage to ourselves by the things that we constantly think about. Myrtle Fillmore, one of the founders of this movement, said, all power is given unto you in all the affairs of your mind and body. Exercise your God-given power, authority, and dominion, and rise out of the bondage to conditions of lack and discord. I want to unpack that. I think it's really essential to unpack this particular quote. All power is given unto you in all your affairs of body and mind. Sometimes we don't feel that way. Sometimes we've given our power to someone else. Sometimes we feel like we're not in control. Someone else is. We make decisions and we allow ourselves to be subjected and have literally given away our mind, our thoughts, sometimes even our body to our own detriment. Has anyone, if you've done that before, just kind of whisper amen. Amen. Yeah, I know, see? You don't have to go to confession in front of everybody, but you have to at least whisper it because I want to hear it. So you've been given that authority. She goes on to say, exercise your God-given power. This isn't something that you have to seek and find. You were born with it. The universe gave you this God-given power. This is already within you. You've let that light dim down. It's like you've had a dimmer switch on your light, and you've let your power, your God-given power, just become really dim. And when you do that, you start to contract and withdraw, and then you wonder why your life isn't expanding and going where you want it to go. Because literally, the power within you, you've given that away. But she's like, harness this power. Wake up, look in the mirror. Whenever I have this feeling myself, okay, you're going to see how I do church sometimes. When Joe, not the minister, so when I sit down, I'm just Joe, okay? Not your minister. It's really easy for you to say, Joe, harness your power when you feel like you don't have any. And I have felt that way. That's why I'm sitting in the chair. And that's why I have to remind myself that if I come into a place like this and I go to some of these classes, if I hear one thing that can shed some light into the darkness, and like I said in the meditation, the darkness begins to dissipate. It only takes a sliver of light. And you know what that feels like when you finally go, you give yourself that look like, oh, okay, I think I saw that, and now I need to expand on it. The power of the spoken word is going to take you to the next step. I'm just trying to say, watch out what you say after you see that light. Because many people will see that light and go, God, I hope that works. We don't operate on hope. We operate on belief. We operate on knowing. We have to know that that power is within us to rise above the conditions of lack, and I'm going to say lack, limitation, and discord. And we've all experienced this lack, limitation, and discord. Watch TV. It's all over. Lack, limitation, and discord. How do I not internalize that? How do I not, Joe? Oh my God, Joe, how do I not internalize all this stuff that's going on around me? Well, we're going to talk about that. To work with the power, you must give it right of way and still the reasoning mind. Now, for all of our do I have any overthinkers here? Overthinkers? Think way too much, right? You just sit there and you just think about it, and you don't act because you're paralyzed by the process of thinking. Anybody? Say amen. Oh, see, you all need help. I'm glad you're here. How do we do that? Eckhart Tolle says this, and this is how I believe that we get through this. Non-resistance is the key to the greatest power in the universe. Non-resistance. So I'm going to talk about non-resistance a little bit today. Because it's easy to talk about. Sometimes it's more challenging to implement. All right? Here we go. Resistance is hell, for it places us in a state of constant torment. How many of you, I'm not going to ask you to say this, but not how many? I'm sure that many of you have been in relationships that have been, say, less than pleasant. In fact, I learned a new term during the retreat. We were going around and have people talking about their past and things, and someone said, well, my husband. And I'm like, what the heck is a husband? And I thought my hearing aid didn't pick it up right. So I'm like, okay, you just didn't hear it right, Joe. So I'm like, okay, just. And then someone else said husband. I'm like, oh my God. And so I asked him, like, you need to define what husband is because I don't get it. So I bet many of you have been in dysfunctional relationships, and those of you who have husbands, it's obvious. And there was a point of resistance to get out. Wherever that resistance came from, whether it was fear of obligation or commitment, wherever it came from, there was this fear of getting out. And because of your internal dialogue, has anyone ever been in hell in a relationship? You can say amen. Actually say hell yeah. Hell yeah, you were volunteers. We had this thing in our mind where we had to stay. And when we finally saw the glimmer of light that happens when there's something that happens when you just make that transition, you go, I'm out of here, right? When you finally get there, there is this, now it's not the process is difficult, but there's a pressure that's taken off of your shoulders. Why? Go back to Myrtle. You're taking your power back. And it's okay. If you have never made a mistake, I want you to rise right now and float out of here because you don't need to be here. But if you've made a mistake, it's essential that you understand that we've all done that. So forgiveness of yourself for making the decisions you made, that comes first. It may be tough to forgive the other person. That may take years and several attorneys, but you'll work your way through it. Next thing, nothing on earth can resist an absolutely non-resistant person. You know those people? Sometimes we go, they're phony. They can't be like that. Actually, they've learned the art. They've learned the art of non-resistance. They don't fight back all the time. And it's not that they give in. They choose not to spend the energy fighting something. You know what I'm talking about? If you've been in a disagreement with someone, non-resistance is one of the best ways to shut it down. Because if you don't respond, they don't know how to react. Your ability to be non-resistant, not that you're caving in and taking what they're going to accept, you're just making a conscious effort not to engage at that level and intensity that usually is an argument. Are you with me? So, nothing on earth can resist an absolutely non-resistant person, and we love them. And you know, I don't know how to be that. I don't know how to be that. Why? Because I'm so opinionated. Anyone here opinionated? Okay. Or married to someone that is. I'm so opinionated, and I know that my ego gets in the way because I want to be right. So I have to engage in the argument because I want to be right. But that makes me unhappy. Ultimately, it damages my relationship, and it makes me unhappy because what arguments and that thing do to your body, they just eat you up. They eat you up. Non-resistance means that instead of fighting conditions, we go along with the universe and refuse to admit that there is any problem that does not have a solution. Non-resistance means that we trust the universe to work this out. That's hard to do. Like I said a few weeks ago when I taught the prayer thing, we trust Amazon more than God. Remember? Right? In situations like this, we lack the trust, we lack the faith. And when you move in faith, and I'm talking about battle with faith, I'm saying when you move in a non-resistant way in faith, the solutions show up. Usually what happens when you're fighting, your mind is engaged in this disagreement, and therefore the ideas that come to you support this disagreement, support the angst. It is done unto you as you believe. If you're in angst, guess what you're going to have more of? The universe says, whatever you have, you shall have it pressed down and flowing over. Doesn't say it's all good stuff. There's no distinction that says only good shall be pressed down and flowing over. I know people that have had a lot of stuff, we'll call it stuff, and it pressed downs and flows over, and they keep flowing on it because they keep thinking about it and not worrying or not getting themselves out of the way and realizing that they've given away their own authority and their own integrity, and that's why that stuff's going to keep coming out and flowing over. Are you with me? Yeah. Are you bored? Okay, because I need electric shock over there to get you guys, some of these things. Many people suffer from a form of NRSDS. Ready? Non-resistant spiritual doormat syndrome. Anyone? 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 Anyone ever felt like a doormat? You don't have to raise your hand. I'll do it for you. Non-resistant spiritual doormat. Someone has to stop. Non-resistance and wisdom combined keep you from becoming a doormat. Spiritual discernment. Non-resistance and wisdom, not reaction. A process that is thought out in your head. That coupled with, I'm not going to fight you anymore, and the wisdom to know the difference, you're not laying down and becoming a doormat for someone to walk over you. It's when we don't use our wisdom, but we use emotion, reaction, and a need to fight back and be right. That's when we become the doormat. And I know people who have become professional doormats. And they get out of one relationship and they become a new doormat for someone else. And it's because they haven't had that within themselves where they realize that this is not the way to go. Become wise to it. Realize that everything that's happened, everything I've ever seen, everything I've ever been, whatever I said in that song, Everything I've lost and won has brought me here to this moment. Everything I've lost and won has brought me here to this moment where I'm able to understand and go, you don't need to do this again, Joe. If it walks like a duck and acts like a duck, it's a duck. Stop trying to wave off the warning signs because you think you're not worthy of something greater. Every failure, confrontation, or challenge is a God experience, and believe them to be necessary, component on the pathway to your success and happiness. Sometimes you just gotta trudge through your stuff and know that on the other side of this, and that wisdom comes from that. You know, if everything was peachy keen all the time, you wouldn't know what struggle's about. The reason we know that we're struggling is because we know that there's something else that could be happening. And we have felt it, and we've identified with it, and we've lived with it. It's when we lose that ability to see that and have faith that whatever I'm walking through, I'm walking through. Yea, though you walk through the valley of shadow of death, don't build a condo. Keep moving. Right? Agree with thine adversary quickly. Are you kidding me? What is this Bible stuff? Agree with my adversary. I'm not doing that. Not that I have to agree with them. In other words, I don't have to say, I agree with you. Okay, Joe, so how are we going to get out of this? Because I don't want to say I agree with you, because if I agree with you and don't, then I'm not in integrity. Anyone feel that before? Look, I'm talking to this other person right now. I don't want to engage in an argument about this. I like you, and I know we may not see eye to eye on this. Adults can agree to disagree and still be friends and still be partners, husbands and wives. Not everything has to be all those in favor say aye, right? There may be somebody that just needs to abstain, not say no, but abstain from the vote because they choose the relationship over the discord, knowing that this confrontation will be another stepstone to the success of my relationship. Or it may be the step that I need to get out of one. I would never tell anyone to be non-resistant and stay in a relationship where they don't feel like they are perfect, whole, healthy, and complete. That would be spiritual malpractice. I would say, let's try to work it out, and I give you tools to work it out, but if you can't work it out, then you have to be adult enough to move into something different. Same thing with jobs, careers, money, all that health. You can fight people on their health all the time. You know those people? I'm one of those too. I'm going to take everything that's not healthy out of my refrigerator and my cupboard, and I'm not going to eat like that anymore. Then I'm at the grocery store at 2 a.m. freebasing mint chocolate chip ice cream. Anyway, I am a flawed man, all right? I don't stand before you as the one who knows how to do all this. Discord is born, sustained, and maintained through our own emotional discord. Ego. Discord is born, sustained, and maintained because we don't want to get our ego out of the way. Because God forbid I tell myself that I'm wrong. Now, my husband's in the back, and he'll tell you that in 35 years, it's probably happened maybe twice. Even though I've been wrong 10,000 million times, right? It's hard for me to, and then he has a party, he invites everybody, we get a cake. We get a cake and we celebrate. Joe was wrong, yay, cool. Take away the emotional response to discord and the situation fades away forever. Take it off the heat. You know when they say turn the heat down? No. Take the pot off the stove. Don't turn it down because it's still bubbling. You have to decide, I'm not going to do this anymore. Put the pan in the sink. Because if it's on the stovetop, you have the ability to turn it back up again. You have to make the conscious decision to move it out. When we resist, these are some things that you've heard before. When we resist, we lose our peace. As long as you keep letting situations disturb you, you will remain disturbed. Can I hear an amen? Yeah. As long as I'm pissed off, I'm going to stay pissed off. You know, it's not till I say, nope, I got to change something. And I can't rely on someone else to change so that I feel better. That's the dream of every spouse. You change, I'll stay the same, everything will be perfect. That's why you have husbands. All right. Say it with me. Whatever I resist persists. Say it with gusto. Whatever I resist persists. Why? Because I've kept the fire on it. It keeps hitting me in the head or in the behind, one or the other. All right? Whatever I antagonize, I magnetize and attract more of it in my life. The law of attraction is working perfectly in our lives. And when we antagonize, it's almost like a magnet that says, you shall have this and you shall have it abundantly, pressed down and flowing over. Enjoy the discord that you've created. Are you with me? I always expand what I emphasize. Say that. I always expand what I emphasize. Okay, that can't be true. That can't be true because, I did a prayer once. And yeah, I think about this all the time. And I'm emphasizing this discord or this health condition or this relationship or this financial situation or my relationship or finances, happiness, whatever. I keep rotating. It's like a hard drive that never stops spinning. So even on the outside, my internal dialogue, I may say something on the outside, but on the inside, the power of the spoken word is only good if you hit escape on the internal dialogue. You can talk all you want, but as long as you continue to rotate those thoughts in your mind that are not consistent with what you want to achieve and demonstrate, as long as those bad boys are running in there, you can wah, 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 wah. Like that teacher on Snoopy, right? Wah, wah, wah. They're all words. They mean nothing until you make an internal decision to stop that. That's why today I wanted to talk about the unspoken word and to have us learn how to shut those things down so that next week, when whoever's talking next week is picking up the spoken word, then you can say, okay, not only have I learned how to do this, but I'm learning how to use my spoken word. I'm almost done. What I energize, I concretize. My special word. I don't know if it's real or not, but I made it up and you're loving it. Okay. Whatever I energize becomes concrete in my life. Whatever I energize makes its way into my life, good and bad. The universe, like I taught during the prayer, doesn't know the difference between good and bad. It just is one power post through here, and you're connecting to that one energy. There isn't two powers in the universe. There's one that does all things. Things that some people view as good, some people view as bad. Whatever I energize becomes concrete in my life. So this week, on your way out, all the notes that you saw up here are on the way out. You can grab this. And this week, these are your affirmations. So say them with me, please. Whenever I resist, persist. Wherever I antagonize, I magnetize and attract more of it in my life. I always expand what I emphasize. What I energize, I concretize. And so ends your lesson. Have a great Sunday and have a great week, everybody.